Hi everybody, this is Ben from PETERMANS Estate Agents. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to another episode of the PETERMANS Presents series, and I'm absolutely delighted to be chatting today with a friend of mine who runs a gym I'm very familiar with, having gone to it for 10?
Long time.
Yeah, long time. It was pre-beard, pre-child, and I spent more time there than I do now, obviously. So I'd love to introduce you to Joe Payton. It's lovely to have you. Thank you for taking the time. Very busy.
Well, ish.
Yeah. Well, let's be fair. The class schedule is very busy.
Class schedule is busy. Yeah.
I love this place. It's been a big part of my life for a long time. For my wife's time, made a lot of friends through it, and I just think that it's one of the things that makes this area so great.
Thank you.
So, kind of give this an idea, really, because you came into it as a trainer. So,
yeah.
Why don't you give a bit of a background about the gym itself first? Really?
Yeah, the gym itself. I mean, it's been around for a while, as you know, and it's been one of our trainers, Johnny, started it way back when, and kind of started the ethos then. So it started with Johnny, and it was very much about having a training space or a gym space that was super inviting and welcoming for everyone, which often gym spaces just aren't, even if they're not trying, not necessarily trying to be difficult or intimidating, but a lot of them just are naturally, especially for people who aren't regulars or are slightly more nervous or are coming back from an injury or just haven't stepped foot in the gym before. So the ethos of the gym is very much about make it a welcoming space for everyone and make everyone who walks through that door feel like they're at home. For whatever reason, it's business, and kind of Johnny's job didn't work out as he wanted, so Anne took it over, ran it for a couple of years, and then I joined as a personal trainer, and after a couple of years she's just kind of noticing that running a business on your own and trying to be a personal trainer, you just couldn't push it forward as much. So I think she was either looking really at maybe ending the studio or offered me the chance to come on board and work together so we could kind of keep the ethos and do everything we were doing and keep it kind of as it was, but also start to think about how we could drive it forward, how we could put more classes on, and how I guess we could maybe professionalise it a bit more from this lovely kind of ramshackle space into something that was a bit more of a kind of business and have a wider reach and things like that.
Well, it definitely does that. I remember when it started, and it was Johnny is someone I train with now.
Yeah.
Johnny Cook PT. I think that's his handle or something, isn't it? I think when you guys started to move it in this direction, you could really get a sense of what you guys wanted. Were you aligned in that? How did that partnership work? Because you're both quite different characters. Like, how did you find going from trainer and essentially, boss of the gym, as it were, to then being together as a partnership?
It was good, but it came with its challenges. Definitely, like me and Anne are super different. Anne is, everything is done properly. She makes sure everything is cared for. And that's not to say I don't. I think I take a bit more of a holistic approach and a bit more of a kind of looking in the sky and thinking about
aspirational.
Loads of ideas. And Anne definitely is fantastic at keeping me in check, because we wouldn't have made it through COVID if it hadn't been for Anne's stringent fiscal policy. I just would have bought loads of stuff and invested in loads of things, and then got to COVID and that. Although we've definitely had our challenges, when we were opening Studio 2,
which is where we are at the moment.
Trying to understand each other's personalities from kind of in a stress situation, all of a sudden was really quite different. But I was glad. I was glad I got on board. I'd been a trainer for 3 years at that point, and was starting to look at what else would fill my day, because I was becoming an excellent napper, pretty good at TV, but starting to kind of get the feel for I want to do something else as well.
And you said a lot about the community element of that. Was that the real driver, for example, with where the business went, why you opened up this amazing space here? Was it because you obviously, with it being a personal training focus in the gym, that's a real community in itself, not just for the people that go, but for the people that come in as trainers, which is obviously part of what made you make the decision you did. Is that kind of how it led to them making the decision to open a studio completely dedicated to?
I think so. I think we got to Studio One and it was doing a bit of everything, and it was just getting to the point where you couldn't grow it any further. So it was no longer, you were trying to fit Pilates and yoga in there.
Yeah.
But actually, for what Pilates and yoga needs, a much calmer, more serene, cleaner space, that wasn't it anymore. But also, I think if we're trying to take a holistic view of exercise, which I think is really important, if you're not offering those types of classes properly, then you can't be including as big a community, because, for some people, the jumping, weight-based exercises just aren't initially a realistic goal, or coming back from injury or something like that. Those type of group classes really don't work. So personal training can work, but actually if people are interested in group classes or can't necessarily afford individual PT sessions, if you don't have the slower classes and space for those classes, then I guess you're cutting out a big part of that community. So when the opportunity came up next door to get the next door arch, and we've been talking about it already and how we developed Studio One and the studio into something bigger, it was a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure. I think it says a lot about how the community of Herne Hill, Brixton, Dulwich, this captures such a wide audience of local people.
Yeah.
Because of the vibe, the holistic approach, and I think that's been, as someone who goes, that's the biggest change that I've seen.
Yeah.
It always felt like somewhere people would go, but it was so focused on one element.
Yeah.
And you can really see that what you both decided to do with it, it's brought such a different feel and such a wide kind of range of people coming through, and even for my business, I've had people come to us, and I say that. Talking to them about what we sell to the area, and they said, and it's always mentioned.
Nice.
I would say at least offhand about 6 or 7 times on valuations and such.
So nice to hear.
Yeah, seriously.
It is nice. I mean, I think I think the community thing is critical, and I think I love seeing people who have come to us and said we've never set foot in the gym, or you get the initial email being like, I'm super unfit and I've got no idea what I'm doing. Will I be okay to come to classes? And those type of people, from that initial email conversation to come into the first class to then being with us for years, they're the people I feel like maybe super proud and super happy about what I do. Like if someone is coming in and going, I can deadlift 120 kg, but I really want to deadlift 150, cool, let's help you get there. But really, that's a personal motivation that wants to tweak their exercise. The big kind of change in people's lives are actually as people who have always viewed exercise as this kind of maybe evil thing, and this thing for people who are super springy and super bouncy or super skinny, and being able to kind of shape exercise to be it's not that, it just needs to be something you enjoy, that fits in with your life, that you'll do regularly, and then you won't stop doing it when you go on holiday or get a bit sick or things like that, because you're thinking, I want to go back and see my trainer or my teacher or hang out with the people in class, rather than thinking I'm going to die or shout at this. I hate that. I've never responded well to that in exercise or life. So why do you put yourself in a situation for 45 minutes where you're being shouted at?
Yeah.
You'd hate it at work, you'd hate it at home, so it's, whenever it always seems strange to me.
Yeah, basically, like you say, people's approaches to everything is different, especially with exercise. Obviously, it's the same for me personally. That approach has worked very well. It's got me through lots of different parts of my life, and I guess that actually comes onto something that's part of the reason for doing this this series. It's a bit about the mental health side of things as well as the physical, because the two are so intertwined with your physical well-being and how that so drastically can improve your mental health. How did you find that change come as becoming essentially a business owner? Because obviously being in the industry, the benefits from a physical perspective personally, but on the business side of it, and for anyone that maybe is thinking about whether they want to become a personal trainer, or they've got ambitions to open a gym themselves, how did you find that business side, did it have any impact on your kind of mental
On
health?
my mental health?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, I'd run a business before moving into training. And yeah, I mean, the pressure weighs differently.
Yeah.
But I think the difference was previously with my business before, like, I never loved the subject matter. It was a recruitment business. We'd done really well. We had a, we had a kind of an ethos there that we were trying to build. But it was not something that actually like got me going. Whereas sport and exercise has always been my passion. So I think the mental health side, the pressure when you're doing something you really care about and something you've got, I don't sound corny, but like more of a cause that you're working towards rather than just okay, cool, like I want to make this much money and I want to place this many candidates or rah rah rah.
This isn't knocking recruitment, by the way, just to...
No, and sorry to any of my old colleagues if this. But it just wasn't my passion. Recruitment might be people's passion, and then that makes a difference in kind of why it's worth the sacrifices to mental health, or why it doesn't hurt, it doesn't affect you quite as much, because it's something you really believe in and it's something you enjoy doing, rather than feeling like, I've got to go and do work, I've got to go and do this. It's like,
sure.
If you get a client email or call at 9:30 p.m, it's fine, because it's just part of my life, rather than being like, that's my job.
Interesting with that side, because you are a parent as well. So Z kids, you said 2.5 now, which is insane.
Yeah.
How that must have been a big shift as a parent to a 3 and a bit year old myself.
Yeah.
Being a parent takes up a lot of your headspace. So how have you found parenting and being a person who can function with no sleep whatsoever and running a business at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's helped, because you kind of, it gives you some, perspective on actually like how you can survive with so little sleep.
Well, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like the rest of the stuff, it's like, yeah, cool. These problems aren't that huge. I mean, there've definitely been challenging times where sleep's been worse and stuff like that, but I think overall, like, in my case with what we do and working in a partnership with Anne and the wonderful like trainers and staff we've got who we trust implicitly to run the studios when we're not here, it's been nice. It's been nice to have the flexibility.
Yeah.
When Zeke was small, I would strap him on and bring him to work for 2 or 3 hours and just train around with him. And he comes into he'll come into the studio and he'll have a run around and people know him. So having the physical space is actually quite lovely, and I quite like the fact that he will grow up knowing these spaces and having these spaces to run around in, and hopefully having kind of a positive view of exercise from really small. So in a way, I think it's been easier running this business than it would have been if I was back in recruitment and expected in the office kind of 8 till 6 or whatever hours we used to work, and not being able to be there. Whereas I don't work Tuesdays, I had to, I can move my diary around, and then because the work's quite mobile and you can kind of log on at 8 p.m. and tap away while Love Island is on, or whatever your choice of TV is.
Yeah, you might come on to that in a different section of the interview later.
That's really how to do with mental health, reality TV. Exercise is good too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Love Island. I honestly, as I say, when we go out and we do our kind of valuation stuff, one of the things that really draws people into using our business from the agency side is our knowledge of the area. So obviously our business has been there for 60 odd years, but that sort of collaborative nature of local business, have you kind of seen that be something that works for you? Because obviously for us, as I say, businesses like yourselves, like Annabelle, who'll be in another interview a little bit later on, and many others in the area, it really makes people feel comfortable about being in a place like Herne Hill, which can be a bit daunting. It's a lot of really big houses that I can't afford to live in. But then you got business like Fison, which is it just stands out as something that is so friendly and so inviting, and it gives people confidence that they can move somewhere that they may not have thought they could.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I mean, I think it's quite an authentic community as well. Like a lot of the businesses, as you said, Peterman's, other ones have been around for a long time, and we know each other. The owners know each other. you know, we talk a lot to make sure each other's okay and people aren't getting, you know, bullied by the big men. You know, and there's a lot of support. You know, I will talk to our business owners about what to do next and how to do it, because, you know, realistically, I've been doing this for 5 years, whereas other guys have run their small businesses for a long time, you know how to, what maybe we should do from an accounting perspective or from a growth perspective or from how to get out of certain situations or work through things. So yeah, like the local network's lovely. And it is, you know, it's why it feels like it does on Sunday, or kind of, you know, it feels like a little hub, like a little village within itself.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah. And you live locally as well, don't you?
We're in West Norwood now, but yeah, have not moved too far from.
No, well, I'm the same. We live in Tulse Hill, and before that, Denmark Hill, and before that, Herne Hill. So all the hills.
Yeah.
Hence why I used to go to the gym. Yeah. So what's next?
I think we're just we've had a really good year and a half since we opened up Studio 2, and Studio 1 is going well. We've just had a shift in booking system, so we're just trying to work that out. That's been awful. So like once the dust settles on that, I think like our next stage is to start looking at the next location and trying to replicate what we do here in like a new community. So it is exciting. It's a bit scary. It'll be lots more work, which is not necessarily my goal at the outset. Of the day.
I want to open a new place and not have more.
But you know, I think it is. I think we do a nice thing, and I think we have such a lovely network of teachers and people who work for us. But, you know, like when me and Anna are away on holiday, everyone locks up, everyone opens up. Everyone has access to the gym. There is not one trainer where we don't trust to book in their time. We don't check up on any of these things because we've known these guys for a long time. So they allow our business also to thrive, and they allow us to not feel the pressure all the time, because we've got people we know will take care of stuff, will step in if there's something happens last minute, and they all know each other. So it's like, you know, they're a community themselves. So we want to, next location will be hopefully not too far away, and again we can just kind of work with those teachers to give them more work, open them up to another group of, you know, geography, and be able to kind of replicate what we've got without having to bring in a whole group of people in.
It's hard, isn't it? Recruitment's always difficult.
Recruitment's really tough, because you're never sure really until someone's been there for a while if they kind of fit in with your values, how reliable they are, and how committed they are to your space. So it takes a while to know you've got good people, but we know we do.
You do. Well, I can say that as a customer, a client, however you put everyone in there is awesome. It's a lovely place to be. So I would say to anybody in the area around, this isn't a sales pitch, by the way. I say this to people when I'm not on camera as well. Come to Fison Fitness because it is genuinely the best place to go and exercise. It's been an absolute pleasure, Joe. Thank you so much. And I'll probably see you in the gym at some point very soon. And thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions about joining up with Fison, check out their handle, which is
Fison Fitness.
It's an easy one to remember. And I will see you all soon. Thank you very much.